Hi, this is Josh Smith with Notebooks.com, GottaBeMobile.com. Today we're taking a look at the Dell XPS 13, a new Ultrabook from Dell, comparing it to the MacBook Air 13-inch. The Dell XPS 13 starts at $999 and the 13-inch MacBook Air at $1299. So there's a $300 price difference, and one other big difference is the size. We have a 13-inch display on both devices, but as you can see, the actual size is significantly smaller. The Dell XPS 13, because it has that edge-to-edge, super thin bezel, is actually much closer to the 11-inch MacBook Air in terms of size of the device. And that is really handy if you're looking for something that's very portable. We also have a Core i5 processor in both of these models, as well as 128 gigabytes of storage and 4 gigabytes of RAM. When it comes to the thickness, the XPS 13 is slightly thicker than the MacBook Air 13-inch, but it's not something that we're going to notice day to day while you're carrying this around. So overall, these two devices are very similar in specs and size. The price on this even is the same as the 11-inch MacBook Air, and I think offers a better value than the 11-inch Air, considering the internals you get in the higher hard drive storage. On the right, you'll see that our MacBook Air has a much higher resolution, so we can fit more on the screen than we can on the XPS 13 Ultrabook. And where this really comes into play is if you're comparing two documents side by side. Whether you're on the road and you're trying to work on a report and some data side by side in Word and Excel, or you're working on the web like we do every day, and you want to compare two web pages with what you're working on, higher resolution is generally better. Now for $999, it's hard to complain, but we do wish there was an option from Dell to upgrade to a higher resolution display. One of the nice things about the XPS 13 versus the MacBook Air is that you do get a USB 3.0 port, which you can see here compared to the USB 2.0 on the MacBook Air. There is no Thunderbolt port on the XPS 13, but you do have a display port. As we look at the left side of the notebook, we have power, USB 2.0, and a combo microphone headphone jack. One thing you won't find on the Dell XPS 13 that is included on the MacBook Air 13 is an SD card slot. Granted, the XPS 13 is in the price point of the 11-inch MacBook Air, which also lacks an SD card reader, but that's something I really think should be on any notebook in this price range. Consumers don't want to carry around a dongle to get their images off of their point and shoot or off of their DSLR while they're traveling onto their notebook. We need those integrated. One thing I really do like on the XPS 13 versus the MacBook Air, the bottom is carbon fiber. It feels really nice, it has a nice soft touch to it, and you have these raised edges so you get a little bit extra room in there, and it's pretty comfortable when you put it on your lap. The bottom of the MacBook Air is of course aluminum, and while there's nothing wrong with that, it can heat up much quicker than the carbon fiber during my time with both of these devices. So can the Dell XPS 13 at $999 beat out the MacBook Air, which starts at $1299? It's a tough call, and I think for most users, the MacBook Air is still going to provide more value if you need the higher resolution, the built-in SD card slot. That said, if you're comparing the Dell XPS 13 to the 11-inch MacBook Air, significantly more value here for a consumer who does not need all of the OS X features and is perfectly happy with a Windows computer. Head over to Notebooks.com to see our full review of the Dell XPS 13.